If your bank account could talk, it probably would not yell at you. It would sound tired. It would say, I am not empty because of one bad day. I am empty because nobody tells your paycheck where to go before everyone else shows up. It would remind you about the rent that came first, the car insurance that came next, the grocery bill that surprised you, the credit card payment that barely moved the balance, and the little subscriptions that kept acting innocent. You might think how to manage money means becoming strict, cold, and boring. But your bank account would tell you something different. It would say, I am not asking you to hate your life. I am asking you to stop making every decision after the money is already gone. If you like calm, honest financial breakdowns with real examples, real numbers, and no hype, subscribe to the channel before we go deeper, because this is the kind of conversation most people avoid until their account balance starts having it for them. Your bank account sees the pattern before you do. It sees payday come in with confidence, then watches the money scatter across bills, food, gas, debt, convenience, and stress. It sees the same restaurants, the same apps, the same automatic payments, the same small charges you forget because each one seems too small to deserve a serious conversation. But small charges are only small when they happen once. When they repeat, they become part of your financial identity without asking permission. That is why a paycheck routine matters. It gives the paycheck a set of instructions before the week starts pulling on it from every direction. The first instruction is protection. Keep the roof paid, the lights on, the car moving, the minimum debt payments handled, and the food covered. The second instruction is breathing room. A small savings transfer before the account starts feeling spendable. The third instruction is the future. Maybe that means investing later. Maybe it means paying off debt first. Maybe it means building an emergency fund. But the point is simple. Your future cannot keep surviving on whatever your present forgets to spend. Your bank account would probably point out the charges you forgot first. Not because they are huge, but because they reveal something uncomfortable. Money can leave your life without you making a fresh decision. That forgotten subscription is not just $10 or $15. It is a tiny employee you hired months ago that still shows up for payment even though you no longer remember giving it a job. Then your bank account would point to food, not groceries exactly. The extra food, the rushed food, the tired food, the meals bought because the day was too long, and cooking felt like one more unpaid task. This is where money management tips have to meet real life. Telling someone to never eat out is easy advice. Building a plan for the nights when they are tired is useful advice. The belief people carry is that they need discipline first, but sometimes the better answer is structure. Discipline says, I hope I make the right choice later. Structure says, I already made the right choice while I was calm. That is why your next paycheck should not arrive into confusion. Before payday, decide what amount protects bills, what amount protects food, what amount attacks debt, and what amount stays untouched for breathing room. The part most people skip is naming the money. When savings is just extra cash, it gets stolen by the month. But when savings is called car repair, rent buffer, medical bill, or emergency fund, it becomes harder to treat it like spending money. This is financial education for beginners in its most practical form. Not complicated charts, not impressive language, just money with names, limits, timing, and a place to go before emotion touches it. Comment start below if you want a simple checklist to organize your next paycheck. I'll put it in the pinned comment along with the private community details for deeper money breakdowns without hype. Now let's talk about the traps your bank account sees every month, because the most expensive habits usually do not look expensive while they are happening. The first trap your bank account sees is the weekend leak. During the week, you try to behave. You make coffee at home. You skip a few purchases. You tell yourself this month will be different. Then Friday night arrives and the whole plan gets negotiated. One dinner becomes drinks. One quick stop becomes a cart. One plan becomes a ride, a tip, a delivery fee, and something you bought because you were already spending anyway. The second trap is the false reset. Payday makes you feel like the past is over, but your credit card balance knows better. Last month is still sitting there, waiting to be paid with this month's energy. That is why budgeting for beginners has to include debt, not pretend debt is separate. Debt is not separate. Debt is your old spending standing in line with your current bills. The third trap is treating savings like whatever is left. Your bank account knows how that story usually ends. There is rarely anything left because every unplanned dollar eventually finds a reason to leave. The fourth trap is confusing income with control. More income can help, but if every raise becomes a nicer apartment, a newer car, easier food, and more automatic payments, the number gets bigger while the pressure stays familiar. That is where saving versus investing becomes important. Saving gives you protection from the next surprise. Investing gives your future something to grow from. But neither one works if your paycheck is already exhausted before they get a turn. Here is the psychological trap. You might think you are bad with money, but sometimes you are just living with too much financial noise, too many charges, too many due dates, too many apps, too many small decisions happening when your brain is already tired. Your bank account does not need you to become perfect. It needs you to reduce the noise enough to hear the pattern. Because once you hear the pattern, you can finally change the rhythm of the month instead of just surviving the same song again. Your bank account would probably ask for less drama and more structure, not a total life makeover, not a punishment plan, just a system that makes the important decisions before the emotional version of you enters the room. The first change is to create a payday order. Bills first, food second, transportation third, debt fourth, savings fifth. After that, the remaining money can be spent with more honesty because the essentials are already protected. The second change is to stop mixing every dollar together. When bill money, food money, savings money, and fun money all sit in the same place, your brain starts treating everything as available. Think of your checking account like a crowded junk drawer. Batteries, receipts, keys, coins, pens, old gift cards, everything mixed together. You know useful things are in there, but when you need something, you have to dig through chaos. A simple money system is like putting dividers in the drawer. The same items are still there, but suddenly you can see what belongs where. Debt is one section, savings is another, bills are another, flexible spending is another. Once the categories are clear, the month stops feeling like one big blurry emergency. Your bank account does not need you to become extreme. It needs you to stop making every choice from the same pile of money. Quiet wealth starts when money stops disappearing in a blur. It starts when you know what is safe to spend, what must be protected, and what no longer deserves automatic access to your paycheck. Comment checklist below if you want the simple system to review your cash flow. I'll leave it in the pinned comment along with the community details for deeper money breakdowns without hype. The first practical step is to list every automatic payment: subscriptions, apps, memberships, insurance, phone bills, car payments, debt payments. If it renews without asking, it belongs on the list. The second practical step is to cancel or question anything that no longer earns its place. Your bank account does not care that the charge is small. It only knows that money keeps leaving for something you stopped choosing. The third step is to create a separate space for savings. Even if it is just another account, when everything sits together, spending money and safety money look the same, and the month will always argue that safety can wait. The fourth step is to give your credit card a real repayment plan. Not just the minimum, not just whatever is left. Pick one balance, choose one extra amount, and repeat it until the number finally starts moving. The fifth step is to give yourself a weekly spending number. This protects you from the slow blur where Monday feels fine, Wednesday feels normal, Friday feels deserved, and Sunday feels confusing. The sixth step is to let investing become boring when you are ready. Your bank account does not need you chasing hype. It needs you building stability first, then putting small amounts toward the future with consistency and patience. The big reveal is that your bank account is not trying to embarrass you. It is trying to show you the pattern before the pattern becomes your whole life. Money becomes clearer when every dollar stops pretending it is available. So ask yourself honestly, which automatic payment keeps taking money from a version of you who no longer wants it? Which spending habit has become background noise? Which future goal keeps waiting because the present keeps moving first? Comment start below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the checklist there, along with the community details, so you can organize your next paycheck before the month starts making decisions for you. Your bank account does not need a perfect person. It needs a clear person, one who finally tells the paycheck where to go before the world does.